Ryan Grubb, Alabama's offensive coordinator, had some interesting things to say, and we think you want us to talk about it. And even if you don't want us to, we're gonna.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. We'll talk about Mazda in just a little bit as Jimmy drinks his
teeth.
Port.
Drink
Anywho,
a lot of tea.
Want to thank you every day for being here every day, because you know what? You've made Locked On the number one sports podcast network there is, and we can't thank you enough. We try to, but we can't. So, Jimmy, Ryan Grubb, Alabama's offensive coordinator, he had a lot of things to say here recently. And
he talked to some, I think he was at some thing, and he talked to some news people thing.
The
right?
ALFCA convention.
That was in Montgomery, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now I know. Okay, yeah, it was an event where I think a lot of coaches gathered, and some news camera caught up with Coach Grubb.
So, first of all, he talks about his quarterbacks, and that's what I want to start with. He says, I think a lot of people are waiting to see what we do in the portal, and with Austin Mack and Keelon Russell, we got exactly who we need. He said they're two of the best quarterbacks in the country. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and disagree that one of them could be one of the best quarterbacks in the country, because you know how I feel about Keelon Russell. But I think that's a little presumptuous. I think that is
much. It's a little much.
I think the more politically correct way to have said that, and the based on what we've seen recently to temper expectations way to say that would have been, we are very confident in the two guys we have.
Yeah. I think that quote's going a bit too far, because I mean, it's like, so okay, Austin Mack is better than Dante Moore. He's better than Julian Sand. That's a little much for me. So I don't think anyone should take it literally, but there is an important point here, definitely, about the portal, and that's this: 1 year ago, when there was a lot of doubters, a ton of doubters, people forget the extent of doubtism that was out there. We were saying
it's doubtivity. It's doubtivity.
Doubtivity. The high rate of doubtivity.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, how can you just assume Ty Simpson's going to be good? He hasn't played. Why are you assuming he's going to be good? Because we were saying Ty's going to be really good. And one of the evidence, I wanted it to be evidence-based and not just, well, we're optimistic people, and so therefore we think Ty's going to be good. No, it needs to be evidence-based. And a shred of evidence I was using to justify the optimism in Ty is the fact that the coaches had worked with Ty throughout the fall of 2024 and did not go to the portal to sign a starting quarterback. They could have gone to the portal. They had the money. They could have done it. They could have gone to the portal and chose not to. They were confident and comfortable with Ty. They didn't feel like going and getting a starting quarterback was necessary. Then they worked with Ty through spring practice. Again, back then there was a spring portal window. They didn't try to, get a quarterback on the portal after the spring either. They liked what they had with Ty. So there's the important fact here. This is Ryan Grubb is saying, hey, if we didn't like what we had, we could have gone to the portal. We could have been in the Sam Levitt sweepstakes or whatever, or whatever quarterback, Derek, the Duke kid. They didn't. So they like Keelon Russell and Austin Mack, and they think one or the other or both will be more than good enough, and that's exciting. But saying they're two of the best quarterbacks in the country, that to me, it's sort of coach speak, but it's that sort of coach speak that's a little unwise, because it's going to be extremely difficult for either kid to live up to that title. But I'm excited about both, like I have been all along. I predicted yesterday on the show that Keelon would ultimately be the starting quarterback, but at the same time, I say that I also want to be one of the media guys out there saying a lot of people aren't. A lot of people need to get on the Austin Mack train a little bit here. I think Austin Mack's going to push him, and I think it's a 1A and 1B situation throughout the spring and even fall camp.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if they're two of the best quarterbacks in the country, why didn't we play them when Ty Simpson was obviously really banged up?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
And you and I are picking nits, okay? Because this is coach speak. This is just a guy up there, and he's just, we're going to give 110%. He's a heady player. He's a coach's dream kind of talk. That's all it is, when you're talking about somebody. But nowadays, and specifically right now, because we, lost 4 games again. I mean, I think as an Alabama fan, and again, Alabama fans are quick to pick nits. Hey, if we have 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country, why didn't we use them more? Why weren't we better?
No, I think it is a great point, particularly with Ty struggling down the stretch with his injuries. This is my explanation for it, in terms of why and how I believe that played out. When Ty was initially kind of hurt, and Ty said, I think Ty said publicly now, it was a South Carolina game, and I think that's where he hurt his back. When Ty initially got hurt, his performance didn't drop off a table. It didn't drop off a cliff. It was a gradual decline as the situation worsened, and he added injuries like to the elbow from there. It was a gradual decline. For instance, he gets hurt, and I think the next week against Tennessee, he played really well. Why would we assume? Well, he's not only playing through it, he's playing well. Then you had the bye week, and then you play LSU. Ty was really good against LSU. It was a gradual decline. It kind of got to the point, I think, starting around that first Oklahoma game, where it was like, I wonder how much the back and the elbow and all that stuff's affecting him now. I mean, I wonder, because that wasn't that good. But now, Luke, you're so late in the year. You're so late. Are you really going to throw a kid out there who hasn't played? We're in the playoff hunt, and that's one. Number 2, there's the committee. We were going to be at the whim of the committee, and as we all know, because we benefited from this one time, by rule, the committee can use a quarterback change or quarterback injury as a reason to leave you out. I think had Alabama been very public, by the time Eastern Illinois sort of rolled around, had they been very public that Ty's hurt and it's affecting his performance to the point that we're going to potentially make a change here, the committee could have left you out unless you won the SEC. So I think by the time Ty's performance had fallen to that point, it literally was too late strategically to make a change. And that said, so that's my explanation for why that never happened. But hey, Ty gutted through it, and even all the way to the very end, he had some moments, but he wasn't the same quarterback at the end that he was in the beginning, and I think it was the accumulation of multiple bangs and bruises.
In hindsight, and as Pat Dye said, hindsight is 50-50.
50-50.
But in hindsight, I kind of wish now that we had played Keelon or Austin, probably Austin, because obviously he went in after Ty was hurt in the Rose Bowl, and just started him for the Oklahoma game. If we had started him for the Oklahoma game, number 1, I think we have a better chance of winning looking back, because Ty was obviously not on his game.
Do you mean game number 1?
I'm talking about game number 1.
Okay.
And yeah, I should have prefaced that. Yeah. Game number 1, the game we lost. Because again, it's all hindsight, and I know it's easy to do this in hindsight. But if we were going to lose
it
for
300 yards, and Ty threw for 300 yards in that
but
game.
At the same time, he had a costly sack fumble.
Yeah.
He had at least one costly interception. I can't remember if there were 2. There may have been 2.
It was a pick 6.
And and it was a pick 6, and we lost by 2 points. And here's the other thing: had we been able to start Austin Mack, I think we would have been like, okay, we're gonna be a little more careful about some of the things we do, and maybe we wouldn't have taken some downfield shots that we should have taken. I mean, that we shouldn't have taken or whatever. I mean, I'm throwing stuff against the wall. I know some people are like, you're crazy, but I'm just saying, in hindsight, it would have been better to sit Ty for Oklahoma. And I guess what Eastern Illinois was after that. And then it was Auburn. And maybe he's back for Auburn and he's healthy.
I don't think it would have cured itself with the problem that quickly.
Okay.
I mean, for instance, for instance, the Senior Bowl, I'm sure would have liked to have had Ty, and that was never really an option because even that was 4 weeks after Indiana is still kind of not able to go. Now he is working out and throwing, but not playing football, which is different. I mean, he's able to work out, but I think it would have taken multiple weeks to get Ty completely healthy. So, hey, it played out okay. In terms of Alabama, we said before the season, how are we going to define a successful season? We said making the playoff. They did that, and not only did they do that, they made the playoff and won a game, even with the quarterback banged up and not playing as well as he did September, October. But boy, Alabama could use some better injury luck next season because they really did have a pretty terrible injury situation late. It was a very healthy football team, and then November came around and virtually the entire it's hard to find. I heard the entire offensive line was banged up going in that Georgia game, and the whole offensive line. Latsier Brooks, I'm sorry, Jeremy Bernard had missed the Auburn game. He was so hurt. Ryan was one of the few guys I think that sort of dealt with bruises all year long. We had the running back situation was hurt. Ty was hurt. Cuevas had broken his foot. I mean, that Georgia game, I know that's just an excuse. No, it wasn't an excuse. It's the second team. That's all they really had. And even some of those guys were banged up.
And again, just because we say we had some people hurt doesn't mean Georgia doesn't get credit. I mean, I'm still getting beat up in some of the comments because I'm like, Indiana's schedule was easier than Alabama's. Nobody go, I'm not taking anything away from Indiana, but I'm telling the truth on that. I mean, both things can be true. So, yeah. But boy, isn't it kind of ironic that we had all kind of injuries in football and basketball. It just never seems to stop too.
It's worse.
All right, let's talk a little Mazda. Mazda's awesome. Y'all know it is. I mean, it's the best. If you're not driving a Mazda, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen, people like Ryan Grubb occasionally, they remind us of what it takes to raise the bar. And he's raising the bar by saying those two quarterbacks are two of the best in the country. It's that extra work off the court and on the field, dialing in every detail, giving that extra fire, that grit, and I never quit. We put that same passion into every model over here at Mazda. Highlights make the real. The real doesn't make the highlights. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. I don't care what Jimmy says. Want to remind everybody to join the Everydayer Club. It's $5 a month or $50 for a year. I mean, honest to God, I think we still have the most members of the Everydayer Club of any Locked On.
Yeah. And
I haven't checked that in a while because I'm scared that we don't have it anymore, and it's better to be ignorant.
Oh, we got it. I had to be away yesterday a little bit, but I will post like a madman today on the Discord page. I'm fired up about football. We're just 34 days from spring practice start.
But you will love the Everyday. I mean, look, you get an ad-free podcast, right? On the audio side, if you join at $5 a month, $50 for a year, that's $10 off doing quick math. But the big thing is you get access to the Discord page. Now, there have been one or two people that have said, hey, I can't find the Discord page. If you have a problem, you can email me. Just email me at luke@robinsoniron.com. I'll be glad to take it. I'll be glad to find out and get to the bottom of it. But the Discord page has been a lot of fun. And we got the meme kings of the world on that Discord page. People like Michael, Asian Jimmy Southern are out there killing the game every day. Okay. Another thing Ryan Grubb said, two more things really. Number one, he said, yeah, running game's got to improve. I didn't realize this until I saw the stats from BOL. I knew it was bad. Alabama was 125th out of the 136 teams in the FBS in rushing last year. We had one player in one game go for 100 yards, and that was Jam Miller against Vandy. And Lord knows we needed every one of them. But that is wow. We better have two of the best quarterbacks in the country if we're going to run like that.
It's got to be better. It's not like they don't know. And I did appreciate Coach Grubb's comments there, because in the sense that I think, what do they say about, when you have a big problem, the first step is admitting it. You have to admit you have a problem before. So, this is an admission. We have a problem. I have given this long answer. Why couldn't we run the ball? And I give this long answer, and I've done it on the show so many times. I don't know that I want to give it again, but I come up with 5 reasons. It wasn't just one thing. I think too many people say, oh, it's the offensive line. That's one of the 5, but there's 5 reasons that they were unable to run the ball as well as they need to. So the question is, to me, is how many of those 5 can you fix? Will all 5 be fixed and everything will be fine next year? I don't necessarily believe that to be the case, but I do believe that they will be better. They're putting too much effort into it not to be better. I think from who they signed in the transfer portal to what the plan is about what backs are going to be playing to the commitment to running the ball, I think it's going to be better. Keep this in mind. DeBoer and Grubb weren't hired by Alabama to be Missouri or really even that Indiana offense. They do their own thing on offense, primarily throwing the football. That's why you hired them. That's not going to change, nor should it change. They should do what they do best. But even they say, hey, even with the kind of offense we play, we've got to run the ball better than this. And that's what I think will happen. That's what my, in terms of how I'm judging it next fall. Is it better? They don't have to go from 120 to the top 20. But going from 120 to like 60 would be nice. And if they were like 60 or 70 with a top-notch passing attack, you know what that is? That's a good offense, a really good offense. If you're top 10, top 20 in passing and about 60 in rushing, you're going to be one of the most productive offenses in college football. And that's what I think we'll see. I think they'll be better in part because of the changes up front, the commitment, the changes in the backfield, and one that nobody talks about that I insist is a big thing all along, and that's who is playing tight end, and are you an 11 or 12 personnel? And I think there'll be a little more 12 personnel, a little more block first tight end mentality, and I think that's going to be a big help as well. Mute. Your mute slump continues.
No, there is somebody who posts in the comments like days without a Luke mute, and it go, it's like 0, then 1, then 2, and now it's going to go back to 0. It's pretty terrible. But what it makes me think about is how important every phase of the game is, right? Like, remember that coach that's in Texas somewhere that coaches for some small school that he just doesn't believe in punting. He's like, I'm never going to punt. Right. The analytics tell me never to punt. I hadn't heard that guy hadn't peed a drop in years, as far as I can tell. I mean, I
don't think he parlayed that into the A&M job.
No, I don't think so. And here's the thing, because you don't have to have the best punter, but you got to have a mediocre punter or just below average punter. You think about this, Jimmy. If we were number 70 in the country versus 125, there's no doubt in my mind we win 2 extra games. No doubt in my mind.
We said last year consistently, said this all year when asked about the run game. At some point, you're going to lose and the season will be over. And most likely you lost the game because you could not run the ball. Yeah. Now, against Indiana, it was a little bigger than that. They so whipped us in just about in every phase. But there's no question Alabama's inability to run the ball was a heavy contributor to the ceiling that the team had. They could only go so far. Now, that was the top 8. And again, I don't think it's crazy this is how crazy the disrespect has been. Alabama finished in the top 8 in the playoff, didn't finish in the top 8 in the rankings. That's where the disrespect started. They earned their way. They earned their way to Atlanta to play for the SEC championship, and they earned their way into the quarterfinals of the playoff, weren't even ranked 8th. Now I'm seeing all these early rankings, and I get it. I get that Alabama's not in the top 10. I get that. And because Alabama doesn't return enough good, proven college football players to justify being ranked in the top 10, and you lost a quarterback, you're going to have a new quarterback. But this Alabama's 21, Alabama's 23. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think Alabama should be, myself, I would put Alabama around 12th or 13th.
Well,
that's where I think they should be right
because
now.
We were in the final 12. I mean, that makes sense. The final 12 should be somewhere in that final 12. Now, one other thing I want to throw out there, because here's where Ryan Grubb, I think, hit a home run, and he hit a home run because he agrees with me. So Darian Morgan and EJ Crowell, who I have followed for some time now, CD Morgan being from here in Alexander City, where I'm broadcasting from. And EJ Crowell always being in the state championship game that I always get to go to. So I love these two guys. I think they're phenomenal. And he spoke of them by name, saying, yeah, they're both going to contribute early. You go ahead and write that down. And I'm on board with that. I love it.
The show.
Yeah, I think he does.
He must listen to the show.
God, I kind of hope he doesn't sometimes.
How about a bold prediction, game 1? We haven't done this. Bold prediction, game 1. Write this down. I fully believe it. Game 1 against East Carolina. I'm going to say EJ Crowell, and maybe this isn't too bold, but EJ Crowell will not only play against East Carolina, he will make a big play that results in a score. A big play. Now, how that's going to be defined, I'm going to count it. I'm going to count it as a 31-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter. That's fine. But no, EJ Crowell, and here's another couple of guys I said that about, and this is why that's significant. I said the same thing years ago, but true. I know I did it on the radio. I'm sure I did it on the show because we were probably talking Tuscaloosa back then. I said Jalen Waddle would make a big play for a score in his first game. And he scored on a punt return, and they got called back. But I said Jalen Waddle will make a huge play game 1. I think it was against Louisville. That was correct. Yeah. And I also said the same thing about Ryan Williams. And he did. He actually scored two bomb touchdowns in the very first game he played in. But I said that about Jalen Waddle and Ryan Williams. I'm saying the same thing about EJ Crowell. Big play game 1.
And you know what? Here's the other thing. Jalen Waddle should have had a touchdown that game. Tua slightly overthrew him, but he made an incredible catch. But if Tua puts it on the money like a normal Tua pass would be, that would have been a touchdown in his first game for sure. Waddle is my dude. All right, we're going to get into the roster ranking in just a second. As it stands, though, I'm going to tell you about Indeed. I don't feel like I use that word enough, Indeed. Indeed and indubitably. I need to use those a little bit more.
Let's go with Indeed.
Okay, fair. Hiring isn't just about finding somebody willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed sponsored jobs is the move to make. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria, like skills, like certifications, like location. If I were hiring, and we kind of are, I wouldn't just want someone who can help. I'd want someone with real experience who can jump right on in and get this thing going. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to the Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply because they apply to everything. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Jimmy Stein guarantee. You're guaranteeing a lot of products these days.
Well, it's there's a lot of hours in the day. I can get pretty productive.
Okay, so roster count. Well, first of all, Alabama does move up to the number 1 class in the SEC, and I think number 2 class overall with Rivals' latest up, or was it 24/7's latest update? I think it was. And
I think
EJ Crowell,
24/7 they're like 2, but they're 5 in the on Rivals.
yeah. So, but I mean, it's great. I mean, so the class
elite.
got even better without doing anything. I mean, pretty cool.
Which just goes to show about how the rankings only matter at the end. Mm-hmm. That's what you're ranked at the end. Instead, people now are upset about rankings last March in terms of where a player was ranked. No, it doesn't matter. Rankings are always in flux until they're set at the end. So the end rankings, Alabama, hey, top 5 is elite. I mean, there's just no other word to describe it.
So, Jimmy, roster ranking today, 2 interesting names that, considering Keelon, Russell, and Austin Mack are 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country, according to our offensive coordinator, it's hard to believe you have Derek Meadows and Ivan Taylor ahead of.
And that's simply because we've seen more of them in the games. They both played in every game, 15 games, primarily special teams. But we're going to talk about both here. And boy, we're now in the mid-30s on the team. That means these are guys that will play every game this year too. Okay, Derek, here's some fascinating stuff. I'm going to surprise you with this. This is shocking. Derek Meadows played in 15 games. He even started the LSU game. I don't know if people remember that. Derek Meadows was a starter, first-team player against LSU, played in every game at wide receiver, and I have him as the 37th best team. I think he's going to be a top 6 receiver on the team this fall. I feel very confident in saying that. He'll be a top 6 receiver. Here's the thing, though. Who caught more balls? And I think just from the question, you're going to get the answer. Who caught more balls in 2025? Derek Meadows or MJ Chirgwin?
Chirgwin.
2-0. Derek Meadows did not have a reception last year. Isn't that crazy? He played in the game, started the LSU game, did not have a single reception.
Well, he was targeted both figuratively and literally in the Missouri game. That would have been a touchdown probably had it made the connection, but and also had he not been hit right in the deadgum head.
He got his block knocked off, and the ball went one way, and his head went another way, and there was a targeting call, and it was just terrible. And terrible. It was an ugly hit, but Derek not only survived, he thrived. He would come back to start the LSU game. Again, I'm super high on Derek. The staff obviously is, or he wouldn't have played in 15 games. I think the fact he didn't catch a pass is just an anomaly. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. He's going to catch balls this year. There were 8 wide receivers who played and caught balls last year. I guess you could say Derek was wide receiver 9 on the team. It's not really true, because he played a lot more than a couple guys like Jalen Bachway caught some balls. Cole Adams caught some balls. But Meadows played more snaps than those guys. He's going to be a significant player this fall at wide receiver. The fact that he did play so much and start the LSU game shows the staff likes him. They fully believe he's a dude, and he will be a significant part of the wide receiver rotation. I think Ryan Williams and Latsier Brooks are wide receivers 1 and 2 on the team this fall. But as to who's going to be wide receiver 3, I think there's great competition. I would lean Noah Rogers right now, but Derek Meadows is going to be in that mix. I'll tell you, C.D. Morgan is going to be in that mix. Rico Scott is certainly going to be in that mix. So those 6 guys, I think they're going to all catch quite a few balls. And I'm excited about Derek. Big, tall, great range. Good hands, but he's a bit of a playmaker, and he should be a major threat in the red zone. Ivan Taylor,
man.
Ivan Taylor is our next guy, boy, and super excited about Ivan. He also had a weird anomaly to his playing time last year. Like I said, Derek started a game, never caught a ball all year, even behind MJ Chirgwin, who was a walk-on last year and is going to be a scholarship player this year. Ivan Taylor also played in all 15 games. Almost exclusively. Yeah, he did.
Wow.
A major special teams player. It was special teams. He didn't play every week on defense. As a matter of fact, most weeks he didn't play on defense, and he was just playing special teams. But he played special teams every game. But here's the weird part about Ivan's playing time. All of a sudden, we started seeing him more at safety late. And by late, I mean in the freaking playoffs. In the playoffs, he's getting snaps against Oklahoma and Indiana more so than he had during the regular season, other than the games that Alabama wins by blowout. Speaking of that, games win by blowout, leading tackler for the team against Eastern Illinois, Ivan Taylor. So, this is a kid that's got significant upside, or he wouldn't have been out there. They trusted him in the playoffs as a true freshman to see snaps at safety. Now, Alabama returns Bray Hubbard and Keon Sabb. I think we know who the starters are going to be. But as we know, Kane Womack will play the twos. He will play the twos. The twos play every week in every situation, basically. So we're going to see a lot of the twos. I think Ivan Taylor is an easy projection to be a 2 this year as a sophomore, and then a starter in years 3 and hopefully years 4. He's a talented kid, great fundamentals, great, he's got, great intangibles. I mean, he's going to be a leader on the team. Couldn't be more excited about Ivan Taylor. Again, we're going to see him every week on defense. Now, last week we saw him every week on special teams. This week we'll see him every week on defense as a primary backup to Bray Hubbard and Keon Sabb.
I'm super excited about him too. I love him for his NFL pedigree. I love all that stuff. I love Derek Meadows. The only thing I'd say is I'm worried C.D. Morgan is going to be the better version of Derek Meadows. And I hope that they both are awesome. I'm just saying, that's weird. He played every game and didn't make a catch. That's weird. Yeah,
it is. That is. He ran a lot of routes and didn't even get
Jackson Marco says that's weird.
It is. It is. That is, like I said, you would lose. When you ask the question, who caught more balls, MJ Chirgwin or Derek Meadows, the answer is going to be Chirgwin because it's such a crazy question. But I think that fact would shock a lot of people, but Derek was obviously a significant player last year. He wouldn't have even started the one game he did. It was against LSU. It's not like if I said, Derek started one game, it was against Eastern Illinois. That wouldn't mean, but he started the LSU game. So that means he was playing, he was playing a lot of first team snaps, and B, LSU November, that's about when all the injuries started. And you had things like that when the bumps and bruises started raining down. But Derek's going to be a heck of a player. He has a unique frame, for the spot. I mean, he's tall. He's Austin Mack tall.
Yeah, but it's less unique now with C.D. Morgan on the team.
Yeah, we're getting bigger. DeBoer wants bigger receivers. I mean, I think that's a clear thing. On the other hand, he wants bigger receivers. No doubt the two best receivers on the team this fall, in my mind, are Ryan Williams and Lotzier Brooks, who just aren't big guys. But he wants to generally get bigger at the spot. That's why he signed C.D. Morgan, and it'll be interesting to see who becomes the main targets at wide receiver in 2027. Obviously, Monsoon Sales would be one of those guys, and he's a tall dude. He's a tall drink of water.
Tall drink of water. All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.